Harihi Om Tat Sat. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Shuddho Buddho Vimuktaha Sudhi Shikhara Giram Mukhyadat Parya Bhumi Yasmad Jahatam Samastam Jagadidam Amrtadvyapya Sarvam Sthidoya Yasyam Sham Shavadharaihi Suranaravanajairakshidam Sarvametad Tam Bhumanam Mukundam Hridikathamalam Krishnameva Prapadye Tam Bhumanam Mukundam Hridikathamalam Krishnameva Prapadye Madhya Hridaya Kashe Sadanandamayo Guru Udedu Sadatam Samyag Swatmananda Prabodhakaha. Hari, 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. As usual, we shall have 3 times joint recitation of the most auspicious monosyllable Omkara, which has a power to increase the longevity of the heart as well as its health and strength. While reciting, think mentally that our joint recitation should spread the whole earth, spread upon the whole earth, and shower its benedictions on all creatures on the earth. This kind of a sankalpa, creative thought, can be fostered only by the human mind. That is why it is considered to be the highest and the greatest in the field of creation. Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect. Close your eyes. Open the mouth as well as the heart and join me. Very good. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Jai Guru. My health has not been all right. Nevertheless, I thought I will talk to you today. Maybe for a lesser time, I don't know. See, we are discussing Bhagavad Gita in a threadbare manner. Oh, why are you taking so much time? We shall have the Gita shloka. Kaharpanya doshopahata svabhavaha.
Kaharpanya doshopahata svabhavaha.
Prichhami tvam.
Prichhami tvam.
Dharma sammudha chetaha.
Dharma sammudha दृढचेताः
यच्छ्रेयस्याद्
यच्छ्रेयस्यात्
निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे
निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे
शिष्यस्तेऽहं
शिष्यस्तेऽहं
शाधि मां
शाधि मां
त्वां प्रपन्नम्
त्वां प्रपन्नम्
शिष्यस्तेऽहं
शिष्यस्तेऽहं
शाधि मां
शाधि मां
त्वां प्रपन्नम्
त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
We have been discussing Bhagavad Gita in a threadbare manner. As I told you earlier, I have been speaking on Bhagavad Gita for decades, maybe nearly 70 years. Everywhere, the evening session will be invariably on Bhagavad Gita. One chapter or the other, or something in general. I don't think anywhere I have discussed Bhagavad Gita in the manner in which I do with all of you. We have completed 2 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, 3. 1, 2 and 3. Bhagavad Gita is actually a book. It is in the form of a dialogue. But the subject of discussion is Brahma Vidya. You will find at the end of every chapter, Brahmavidyayam Yoga Shastre. The subject dealt with in Bhagavad Gita right from the beginning to the end is Brahma Vidya. Vidya means knowledge. Brahma or Brahman means the supreme ultimate reality. That is what people religiously call God. Spiritually they say it is the self. And philosophically they will say it is the supreme or ultimate reality. The source of existence, the source of existence, the substratum of existence, and where the entire existence dissolves itself into. This is that supreme reality. This Brahmavidya has been exposed very well in the 2nd chapter and also concluded. Stitva syam antakalebi brahma nirvana mrishati, Krishna said. Even if you are able to get into this state at the end of your life, embodiment, even then it will give you Brahma nirvana, he says. So nobody should feel, I am late. Nobody is late. It is a question of your understanding the subject properly and pursuing it. It is totally a mental intellectual pursuit. Even lying on your bed, you can pursue Brahmavidya, practice and contemplate upon Brahmavidya. After completing the 2nd chapter and completing the proposition, Arjuna suddenly raised a question. That question was very significant. After all, Krishna, you were talking to me about Brahmavidya. Brahmavidya means knowledge. Knowledge means it's an epithet of, it's an evolution from the human intelligence. Nowhere in the body knowledge is sourced at all. It's always an inner evolution. So in order to practice Brahmavidya, therefore, all these activities and interactions are not necessary at all. Shall I straight away proceed to practice Brahmavidya, living in seclusion and exclusiveness? Instead of doing that, why are you asking me, fight Arjuna, win the war? After all, this is a bloody war. 4.5 million fighters are present here. In the event of the war, all of them except the winning few will have died. And in a way I feel I shall be the cause of such a large murder. Then why are you asking me still? Tasmad yudhyasva bharata. Therefore, Arjuna, keeping your mind equanimous, contemplating upon your own self, understanding the truth that none is killed and none kills. Very lofty. So should I not stop everything, withdraw from everything, and go and sit and contemplate and realize the truth? Krishna says that is not possible. Your body should permit, mind should permit, intelligence should permit, the spirit and tendencies at work in you should be cooperative for that. You are a valorous Kshatriya, that too an illustrious fighter. And you have come to the war to fight and win. Suddenly how can you change? Will the mind be able to take such a decision? Will the senses be able to cooperate and follow in the process? Every day you are taking food. That food is converted into energy. The energy can be expended only in the form of intense activity. So where is the question of abandoning activity, abandoning interaction? So the entire third chapter was an exposition on why action becomes necessary, how all actions are inspired, persuaded by nature, and nobody can interfere in that area. All these truths were mentioned. Actually, the subject was completed in the second chapter. After answering Arjuna's question, the way Krishna concluded in the second chapter still holds good. So the exposition is over. So according to our traditional style, when an exposition or a beautiful narration is made, they go on representing that Vamsha Parambara. How this knowledge has come, if the speaker has got it from somewhere, from where, etc., will be mentioned. So according to that tradition, Krishna is, in conclusion, referring to the Vamsha Parambara. Imam Vivasvade Yogam Prohoktavanahamavyayam Vivasvaan manave praha manurikshvakave bravid. This is the first sloka in the fourth chapter. Now all of you repeat. Imam Vivasvade Yogam.
Imam Vivasvate Yogam.
Imam Vivasvate Yogam.
Imam Vivasvate Yogam.
Proktavanahamavvyayam.
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 Vivasvaan manave praha.
Vivasvaan manave praha.
Manurikshvakave bravid.
Manurikshvakave bravid.
Manurikshvakave bravid.
Manurikshvakave bravid.
There is much to know, think about, and appreciate. How we look at the wonderful dimension or outcome called knowledge. And so far as spiritual wisdom which India handles even now, when did it originate? Where from did it come? Everybody speaks about Gita and the author is Krishna. But the content of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not the author. The content of Bhagavad Gita is Brahma Vidya and Yoga. It is a Shastra on Brahma Vidya and Yoga. Which Yoga? Not these asanas and mudras. The real yoga which one attains within the body in the sphere of the mind and the intelligence, where the mind and the intelligence couple themselves and they get fused into the I, the self. Such a yoga or union is possible not at all outside. Two materials or units outside cannot blend themselves to disappear and lose their identity and become altogether one. This is possible only within our mind, within our body. We have got the thinker, the thinking and the thought. All the three will fuse into each other, and you will find there will be only one homogeneous consciousness after all. So it is such a Yoga Shastra. And the Yoga Shastra, Krishna says, it was present long back. He says, I spoke about it. I instructed Vivasvaan about this. Imam vivasvade yogam proktavan aham avyayam. Imam avyayam yogam aham vivasvade proktavan. I first of all spoke to Vivasvaan about this yoga. Vivasvaan manave praha. Vivasvaan imparted it to Manu, from whom all manavas have been born. Manu Ikshvagave abravid. Manu spoke about it to Ikshvaku. That Ikshvaku Vamsha is our Rama Vamsha, Dasharatha Vamsha. So it is generally, it has got a special relationship with administrators and rulers, especially those who sit on the throne and rule the kingdom. Kings generally have to reward the good, merited people and punish the opposites. For a king, sometimes it will be necessary to behead a culprit. And so many they do directly. Not that they were hanged by a hanging group and all that. The king will always go with a sword, and whenever there is wrong, violation of law, justice, impropriety, etc., cut the neck. Nobody is there to question him. There was no court to adjudicate in the matter. And that was the power of the king. That is why people were all behaving beautifully and well. Only because of that star punishment. Now generally, that kind of an administrative role is very, very much punishing for the administrator. They will have to take decisions, and in their decisions, there will be no unnecessary compassion, love, fondness, consideration, etc. What is proper, they will have to do. That propriety may mean very differently. I don't know whether I should tell you. My birth was in this small state called Cochin. We had a very powerful king called Shaktandamburan. His statue is kept in Trichure. Right from young age, he exhibited the high degree of rulership. Once he told his uncle, the uncle was scratching his head and saying, "Oh, this is a place there, always there is unrest, what shall I do? So many times I have sent my men, nothing works. What is this? How can I manage? It has become a headache." So this little boy, still a boy, said, "My dear uncle, don't worry. Entrust me the task. I will complete it within 24 hours, he said. The king also was in a weak and exhausted moment. He said, "Okay, do whatever you like." So he made a proclamation the same evening. Same evening. All the youths, male youths of this locality, above a certain age, should come to this backwaters area. They must carry a little more than this long rope, and also an earthen jar. Every one of you should be present. All of them came. And they had a jar that will contain about 13 or 14 liters of water. So he said, tie one end of the rope to the jar firmly. So there is a way of tying and pulling. tie the other end to your neck. All of you come. Fill the pot with water, drum with the water, and then jump into the backwaters, deep waters. All of them did what he wanted to do. He had that kind of a command. And the whole job was finished. Now, is it not too severe a punishment to administer? Administrators have to take sometimes very, very stringent decisions. And the decisions may involve very severe degree of outcome also. But that is part of the administration. Many kings were unable to do it because it hurts the mind. It questions the intelligence. Many people have left the throne, unable to tolerate the impact, and they went to the forest and spent the rest of their life in tapasya, austerity and contemplation. If you want to be a successful administrator, a king, and you will have to administer the country very well, ensuring the peace, welfare, safety and freedom of the people, then you must have this Brahmavidya to support you. Because it is this Vidya alone that tells you, Nayam Hanti Nahanyade. None kills and none gets killed. This is the supreme truth Krishna advised Arjuna in the 2nd chapter. Now this truth was known to the people who ruled the kingdom, sat on the throne. When they were sufficiently surcharged with Brahmavidya, any decision they can take, any administrative step they can launch and implement. They will not be shaken. You know, a king was supposed to sleep only for 4 hours. The rest of the time, he was as a professional. In that, attention to his body, continuing his religious routine, meditation, etc., talking to the palace inmates, meeting people who want to see the king and interview them, listening to his spies, looking into administrative matters, finance and the rest, giving signature and the like. All these will be done. 4 hours of sleep. So they had a very special Brahmavidya contemplation. Imam Vivasvade yogam proktavan ahamavyayam. This yoga is avyaya. It is interminable. It can never be removed. It is not a mortal product. It's not a created product. It's a knowledge. It's not a substance. It's not matter. It's not energy. This knowledge is generally imparted by the one who knows it to the one who seeks it. That imparting is also a very close affair between the giver and the taker, the teacher and the student. Once you get Brahmavidya, it will never go from your heart and mind. It will be always radiant, radiant, radiant. It will be waving there, humming there, like a wave. Something very simple and easy to practice. So, imam vivasvade yogam proktavan aham avyayam. I imparted this first to Vivasvaan. Vivasvaan manave praha. Vivasvaan spoke about it to Manu. Manu Ikshvagave abravid. Manu spoke it to Ikshvaku. And Ikshvaku passed it on to the others. Our Sri Rama belongs to Ikshvaku Vamsha. We have got two dynasties, the solar and the lunar dynasties. See how Krishna says, this yoga is not something new that I have acquired in my life. It is incalculably old, ancient. With the strength, support, wisdom, enrichment and reinforcement it provides alone, a good ruler will be able to sit on the throne and sacrifice everything for the sake of his people. Show sufficient prudence in rewarding the good and punishing the bad. Vivasvaan is one of the 12 Adityas, sons of Aditi. Who are the other Adityas? Mitra, Varuna, Aryama, Daksha, Bhaga, Amsha, Tvashta, Savita, Pusha, Shakra, Vivasvaan and Vishnu. Just imagine. Everything about our scriptures and our Rishivamshas, etc., they are incalculably, indescribably old. It is the human Krishna who engages Arjuna before the commencement of discharge of arrows in this conversation. He is speaking about supra-human thoughts. We are all living on earth, we are all earth's denizens, but our life is above the earth, above the plane of the earth. We are living really in air and space. Krishna and Arjuna were standing on Kurukshetra. Now Krishna wants to take Arjuna's mind far above. Although we are living on earth, understand that we are above the earth, above the ground, the whole of our body. Only the feet are touching the earth by virtue of its gravity. But our whole personality is surviving on air and further things above. Krishna is taking Arjuna away from Kurukshetra. They are going in a flight. Our astrological calculations are based on celestial bodies. We identify our days, weeks, fortnights, months, year, etc., not on the basis of any earthly factors. They are all celestial factors above the surface of the earth. See, we have got Sunday. That Sunday is actually marking Ravi, Surya. Similarly, we have Monday. It is identified with, related to the moon. So on. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All these are names of some planets, celestial bodies. We say Somavar, Mangalvar, Budhavar, Guruvar, Shanivar and Ravivar. One I missed Shukravar. All the 7 days, and these constellations can be identified in the sky. What is Saturn, what is Mars, etc. Now people are arranging a trip for Mars. 27 constellations are there. We have divided the month into two pakshas. And they are related to the waxing and the waning of the moon. Many trees, creepers and plants are there. If you observe them, you will find during the bright fortnight, the flowers will have a certain color. During the dark fortnight, the color will be non-white. You can observe them. Our paddy seeds and other things are specially exposed to moonlight in a special month for 3 days, so that the seeds will be better and more fruitful, more yielding. There is a special word in Malayalam. I don't know whether there is anything in English. Mampu kanikya. These are the expressions used. Our human life is related to altogether 7 deshas, terms. Altogether they total 120 years. There are 9 grihas. Each griha has got a certain period. I asked so many astrologers, can you tell me why these different periods for the 9 grihas? For the sun 6 years, for the moon it is 10, for Saturn it is 19, for Venus it is 20 years. So I asked them, why this difference? You are all copying from the Shastras and saying, should there not be some research to find out why these different terms? I tried to contact the NASA people through some of the devotees we have in the United States, but their calculations are different. They cannot say anything about it. They have made 120 years, but each graha, celestial body, is given a different period. I want to know what is it based upon. Nobody is able to say. I have one thought. Maybe I am a fool in saying this. Every celestial body is revolving. It has got a trajectory and it is revolving. Nothing is stationary. Maybe it is a reference to this revolution of each graha. Is it so? I don't know. So I raised a question in an astrological session where I was asked to speak. I said, why are you asking me to speak in an astrological session? I am not an astrologer and I don't abide by astrology also, though I have respect and regard for it. Swamiji, you should come and talk. Because there is some criticism from some sannyasins about astrology. I said, why? It is a shastra by itself. Any shastra is well-based, rational. It always deals with the good and bad of things, and it is very, 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 very evaluative. So astrology also is so. So I delivered a lecture in which I told you about a king. He did some experimentation in the sphere of astrology. Because he had a very good friend. His name was Machad Elayad. They were very good friends. That Elayad was an astrologer, very good astrologer. So he made a prediction. Then Shaktandamurana said, is it so? Yes. If it is not so, I will keep my astrological bag and never touch it. What was the prediction? The prediction was, if you plant the Kerala plantain on Pashukarana, a time which is governed by Pashukarana, that plantain will be eaten by cows. Will be eaten by cows. So they are friends, very close friends. Shaktandambrana had a lot of respect and regard for them. So he called people, selected a place and planted 100 plantains right on that Pashukaranam moment. Then constructed a huge wall all around, fixed a steel gate, put up security for day and night. These plantains will yield in 10 months. So the 10th month, everything was ready. They were about to ripe. So he said that, take the plantain and make a Kerala pudding. First of all, the plantain will be put in a huge bell metal vessel and stirred, adding some jaggery and all that. Thereafter it will be converted into a pudding, adding liberally coconut milk. So everything was ready, and it was supposed to be served to a selected assembly of people, in which the king was there. His friend Macharalaya, who predicted this, also was there. Both of them were seated nearby, and the meal was served in due order, and finally the pudding made by this particular plantain, Pashukarana plantain, was also served. Shaktantumran took one handful and he made sure that his friend also took. Then he said, stop. Mr. L.A., do you know what this pudding is made of? I don't know. I know that it is made of Kerala plantain. It is the plantain which you said will be eaten by cows. So there are more. Some were taken. He said it can never be. The astrologer said it can never be. You call the cook. So the cook was called. And Shaktandabaran, frowning at him, said, tell me, the pudding that you have served all of us, is it not made out of the plantain which you had taken? I had arranged to be given to you. No, sir. No. What happened? We had stirred it and kept it ready. Suddenly a cow from outside came and he ate. So I threw it all away, got fresh plantain from the market and made the pudding afresh. Now this is, I don't think anything further I have to tell you. Our whole life upon the earth depends upon the atmospheric conditions and the atmospheric constituents. You know, madness, it increases on the full moon day and the new moon day. Some biological processes in the female system, they are also governed by that. What about the ebb and tide in the sea? That is governed by the moon. What all things are there, we don't know, we don't explore into it properly. So in Krishna saying, I spoke it to Vivasvaan and Vivasvaan passed it to the descendants, there is a lot of meaning. We have a solar and lunar dynasty, I said. What is meant by solar dynasty? Don't you think the earth itself is solar? It has come from the sun. Some people believe that moon also has come down like that. Don't you think the sun governs the earth, governs the moon also? And all of them have beautiful rays, radiate from them. One is direct, another is reflected. So all these things I would like you to understand. We have got 27 constellations. Every one of them can be identified. From here, in our young age we are taught, this is Ashwati, this is Bharani, this is Kritika. Now, our birth is identified with one of these 27 constellations. Then we have divided the month into two halves, the dark and the bright. And each consists of 15 days. Our death day is marked after this Tithi, moon, and birthday is marked after the stars. So Krishna makes a reference like this. As part of his Brahmavidya instruction, you have to give a lot of importance to it. Understand that we are nature's product. Your heart, your lungs, all are designed and made by nature. Man has no hands at all. Only after the child is born, we start dealing with the body, treating it and also operating on it. Understand it very well. Our source of earth and the source of moon, a satellite, what are they? They are the sun. So what is the wrong in saying we have derived our birth from the sun? Even if Krishna was born to Devaki, Krishna was born to Devaki. Can you tell me whose mother Devaki was? Was she Krishna's mother or the mother of Krishna's body? It's the point that I asked. Don't get suddenly agitated. The other day when I spoke, one lady seems to have said, "What is this?" What I said was, in the formation and the shaping of the fetus until the point of birth of the child, the mother or father has nothing to do there. They have done nothing. So she was saying, what about the mother looking after the child? I am not referring to the child, I am referring to the fetus. Everything is shaped by nature. The whole process. What about earth? What about sun? What about moon? What about so many other celestial bodies? All are shaped by nature. What about earth's plants and creatures, animals and finally human? They are also shaped. Understand that it is very clear. So Krishna uses this occasion to enlarge the mind of Arjuna and instill broader, greater and loftier perceptions in him. Knowledge and memory do not belong to the body. Our body becomes dead. Knowledge does not belong to matter or energy. Knowledge itself is consciousness, and consciousness is neither matter nor energy. Knowledge springs and radiates from that. When one understands that he is not the body, I don't know whether you are following me and with me. Once you understand that you are not the body, I think everybody, you bring me a group of 100 people, I will make them say they are not body in half an hour. I am asking my viewers and also the people who are sitting around me, tell me whether you are the body or you have a body. What is your answer? We have a body. We are not the body at all. Then why do you say my body? When you say my body, The body belongs to me. Belongs to whom? Belongs to the I in me. What is that I? It is different from the body. To be different from the body is to be different from matter and energy, which constitute the entire visible creation. Devaki delivered the body of Krishna. She did not deliver Krishna. Only the body was delivered. Krishna or anybody for that matter, we are not the body. So which are the body different I? Body alone is born. So the other is unborn. It was there earlier. Earlier means what? Every time that you can conceive of. That is how Krishna says. Krishna drives Arjuna's imagination to that kind of an eternal thinking, whereby he says, I instructed Vivasvaan, the sun. Just see, who will be able to speak like this? It is the power and process of our cultural thinking. Our cultural thinking. If you have the spiritual culture and you have imbibed its spirit and content, you will not speak identified with the body. If you don't identify with the body, you tell me what is the next identity you have? You only have the identity with the I. You only have identity with the I. And that I is eternal, unborn, undying. That is the message of Bhagavad Gita throughout. So our seers and knowers have got a characteristic, a cultural trait. They will always identify with the I and then speak. This is the characteristic of our Indian spiritual thinking. Many kings were rishis. Rishis means saintly, wise people, knowledgeable people. Vishwamitra was one, Janaka was one, Suragu and Pariga are ones. So many are there. To seek Brahmavidya is just like seeking any other knowledge. Brahmavidya also is a knowledge meant to be gained by the human intelligence, used by the mind, manifested through human bodies and human organs. Brahmavidya is the source of all knowledge. Knowledge belongs to the intelligence. Intelligence is within the body. And the source of all knowledge is within the body. Listen to what Mundakopanishad says. Krishna's speech is in Bhagavad Gita, only 5059 years earlier. But this knowledge was in our land right from prehistoric times. That means we cannot say when it was. Brahma devanam prathamas sambabhuva vishwasya karta bhuvanasya gopta sa Brahmavidyam sarvavidya pratishtham atharvaya jeshtabhutaya praha. The first Upanishad I happened to read was Mundakopanishad. From then on till now I have read sufficiently well. Many things. I can say this one Upanishad is the best Upanishad and full. It discusses the karma rituals also. See how it puts Brahma devanam prathamas sambabhuva vishwasya karta bhuvanasya gopta. We are all born from our parents. Our parents were born from their parents. Their parents were born from their parents, their parents, their parents, their parents. You tell me now, from where the first parents were born. First parents. When I say first, before them, there was no parent at all. So our own first parents, human parents, were born from a non-human source. Please understand this. The whole world has sprung from such a source. In order to generate all, the source has to be different from all. Different from all. Our tongue tastes different kinds of taste. Tell me whether the tongue has any taste for itself. It is taste free. Only then it can taste everything, all. So, Brahma Devanam Prathamas Sambhabhuva. So, conceptually, the Upanishad author draws us to a stage where, think of Brahma. He became the first of all the Devas. Vishwasya Karta. He was supposed to create the entire universe, Bhuvanasya Gopta, and protect the world therefrom. Sa Brahmavidyam Sarvavidya Pratishtham. Brahma Sarvavidya Pratishtham. I think I must say this word at least 10,000 times. All knowledge springs from within. The source of knowledge is intelligence. The subject or object of knowledge may be anything, but the intelligence remains the same. That intelligence is not matter or energy. So what is it? Indefinable. All knowledge is generated, preserved by the intelligence. That knowledge is based in buddhi, intelligence. And buddhi itself is sourced by Brahma. And knowledge about that source of knowledge, that is called Brahmavidya. See how they have put it. Sarvavidya Pratishtham. It is the source of all knowledge. Saha Brahmavidyam Atharvaya Jyeshtaputraya Praha. Brahma instructed and imparted it to the first son called Atharva. Atharvaneyam prabhadeda Brahma Atharva tam purovajangire Brahmavidyam Sabharadvajaya Satyavahaya Praha Bharadvajo Angirase Paravaram. See how the Upanishad traces you to the parampara. This parampara should be said whenever some good knowledge is discussed. This knowledge belongs to such an age. It has come from such a person. It has been possessed by such a group of people, and now it is this. It is a loyalty and an integrity to present the matter in this manner, in the full form. So he says, what Brahma instructed Atharvan, Atharvan spoke about it to Angirad. From there it has come to Bharadvaja and Satyavaha, and Bharadvaja spoke about it to Angiras, Paravaram. From one to other, one to other, one to other. This Brahmavidya came to be known to Angiras. Shaunako havai mahashalo Angirasam vidhivadupasannaha papracha Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati. Shaunako havai mahashalo angirasam vidhivadupasannaha papracha. See, I am so much with this statement. Ever since I read it, I could understand what is knowledge. How does subjective or spiritual knowledge distinguish itself from the rest? How does it distinguish itself from the rest? Where is the distinction? How to understand that there is something called the source of knowledge, and Brahmavidya is that. It's not just said, you have to understand it. So, Shaunako havai mahashalo angirasam vidhivadupasannaha papracha. Starting from Brahma, it has come to Angiras. And to that Angiras, Shaunaka, a householder, from the householder community, goes. Shaunaka was a great householder. He had been given to all the daily and special rituals prescribed in the Vedas. He was doing all that. He became old. He was unable to do. But whatever homa he has done in the Agni, in the fire, everything has burnt into ashes. But he was wondering, have my offers reached those people or those deities whom they were addressed to? Who will know, who will come and who will stay? So all my performance was unilateral in nature. I wanted to do homa, I wanted to make an offering. I could not find the God who will receive the offering. So I gave rise to Agni fire, placed it, ignited it, it was blazing forth. Then I poured ghee as well as the offerings into the fire. This much is clear. Whether it has reached the addressee, whether he is pleased with what is offered, nothing is known. So what is the point in doing this karma? After some time I won't be able to do it also, I will not have the physical strength. So the whole exercise becomes futile. They withdrew from everything and started thinking. In the case of Shaunaka, he became so dejected, so indifferent. He spoke about his plight to all the other people of his same age. Nobody has any reply. At the same time, the inquiry was very firm and deep. He could not disown it. So he decided, if the householder community around me has no answer for my question, let me go to the forest. There are some people who go and live there in seclusion. They must be contemplating and doing austerity. Let me go to such a person and place my inquiry and see whether there is any answer for it. There he went, prostrated before Angiras, and then submitted a question. What? A question. From the religious rituals and performances, now Shaunaka has risen to the level of inquiry and finding. You must rise from your mind and get to the intelligence level. Make inquiry, pursue it with dedication, tenaciously, and then you will arrive at knowledge. He said, Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavati. Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāte. My dear Lord, by knowing which specifically or in particular will I be able to know everything and all? I don't know whether you have heard me. And what is the impact it generates in your mind and heart? Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāte. by knowing which specifically shall I be able to know everything and all. When the doctor says your blood should be tested, is the whole of your blood taken away? They only take a few cc's and give you the result. Similarly, in the whole creation, is there anything representative in character which I can conduct an experiment into, and by doing which I shall be able to know the whole constituents of the creation? This is the inquiry he places before him. What do you think of Hinduism, my dear souls? What do you think? By knowing which shall I know everything? Angiras was very pleased. He had not found such a deep inquirer, elderly person, having done all the rituals the Vedas had prescribed, finding no means or purpose in all of them. He comes and he is asking, by knowing which in particular can I know everything in general and full? Is it not a purely knowledge inquiry? Inquiring into something supreme and superb. Tasmai sahovacha dve vidye veditavye itihasma yad brahmavido vadanti parachaiva paracha. I wish you understand me well and reflect upon what you hear. Angiras says, dve vidye veditavye. Our forefathers have analyzed this subject, examined it critically, threadbare, and they have found out very clear answers. Dve vidye veditavye. The knowledge to be known is divided into two kinds, parachaiva aparacha. One is called the superior, sublime knowledge. The other is called the inferior and coarse knowledge. Yad Brahmavido vadanti parachaiva aparacha. One is para, another is apara. What is apara? You know, when I was reading it in Calcutta in my pre-sannyasa days for the first time, with every word, I was finding my breath becoming, what? What? Tatra apara. Great and Shrestha knowledge is there. Ashrestha is there. And he is defining the Ashrestha, apara. What are the apara knowledge? Rigvedo, Yajurvedaha, Samavedo, Atharvavedaha, Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chamdo, Jyotishamiti. Arey, what is this? All the Vedas are apara, Ashrestha inferior. And all the 6 Shastras also are inferior. That is, the religious knowledge and practices, along with the secular subjects and secular knowledge, both of them are inferior, he says. And what has he listed? Rigvedaha, Yajurvedaha, Samavedaha, Atharvavedaha. These are the 4 Vedas we had to learn then. And then 6 Shastras, rational treatises. What are they? Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chamdo, Jyotishamiti. 4 Vedas and 6 Shastras. Shiksha means phonetics. Kalpaha means ritual. Vyagaranam is, grammar. Niruktam means etymology. Chandas means prosodic or meter, metrics. Jyotisham, astronomy. This means what? All the knowledge our people were acquiring and wanting to be proficient in, they were inferior. Then what is superior? He says, Atapara yaya tadaksharamadigamyade. Atapara. Now the superior knowledge is that by virtue of which, follow my words, the superior and glorious knowledge is that by virtue of which you realize the imperishable. Imperishable. Knowledge of the imperishable alone is superior. What is this earth? Perishable. Earth's products, perishable. What about the moon, sun, all the satellite bodies, celestial bodies? What are they all? Perishable, perishable. Panchabhutas are perishable. So physics, chemistry, mathematics, electronics, everything comes under that. All these are object knowledge. Different from this, there is one subject in us, the I, my intelligence, my mind, my ego, my body, my house, my family, my children. So there is a subject part. The knowledge of the subject, that alone is superior. And this subject itself becomes the objects. Tatrapara Rigvedo, Yajurvedaha, Samavedo, Atharvavedaha, Shiksha Kalpo Vyagaranam Niruktam Chamdo Jyotishamithi, Athapara Yaya Tadaksharamadigamyate. See, what a beautiful dissertation on knowledge. Where else will you find this kind of an exposition? Everywhere we are taught about the objects. The one who knows it, the one who sees it, the one who understands it. That is the first factor. From the subject you go to an object. If the subject is not there, you cannot name anything as an object at all. The subject is only one. That is within our body. It can approach and transact only through sharp intelligence. Pure mind and very subtle concentration. So it is this Brahmavidya that Sri Krishna says, I taught to Vivasvaan. As in the 3rd chapter, Arjuna comes up with a question, here also he comes up with a question. How is it, Krishna, that you say you taught Vivasvaan? You were born recently and they were all very old. How can you say that you taught somebody far earlier to you? Then the chapter extended. Otherwise it would have been over by now. The message of Bhagavad Gita is already over in the 2nd chapter. With the 3rd chapter, with some additional clarifications, it is still over. Because Arjuna persists in a pertinent inquiry, Krishna had to oblige him by giving an answer. What is the meaning of saying, I gave to Vivasvaan? Am I only now, or I was earlier also? What is the connection between the two? I shall explain it the next day. Okay, let me stop. One point at least you should keep in mind. The entire world in which our body is also included. The entire world visible to your eyes. Your body is also visible to the same eyes. As you look at the wall, you look at your body. Both are objects. Whether they are subtle or gross, all are objects. Even you refer to God, God also becomes an object of knowledge. There is only one subject for all these objects, and that is within the body, within the body, within the body. That is the source of everything. That is the source of all existence, all knowledge, all experience, all finding. That subject is what you call the I. Everything else is the object. Ego, intelligence, mind, world, body, everything becomes an object. That subject knowledge is called para. All the rest of the knowledge comes under apara, inferior. Remember this? Contemplate upon it and go to sleep. In that contemplation itself, slip into sleep. Samvedyavarjidamanuttamamekamādyam samvitpadam vikalanam kalayan mahatman hridyevatishta kalanarahidakriyam tu kurvan akartrapadamethya samodidashri. Kurvan akartrapadamethya samodidashri. Harihi, Harihi, Harihi Om Tats. Jaya Guru. We shall have the conclusion of Omkara, where all of us will together chant Om. And our Omkara Dhvani will permeate the whole of the earth, showering its benedictions. Ensure that it does so. Hari. Very good. Harihi Om Tas. Jai Guru. I had some difficulty in speaking today. In spite of it, I spoke. I believe all of you must have found it clear. It could have been clearer, but somehow some difficulty was there. Okay. Hari Om Tas. Jai Guru.